Okay, morning folk. It is day 2 of our attempt to get this slab ready. I managed to dig out a little bit more of the drains down here. There's a bit of repair work to do, but I've also spoken to Jason, our plumber, and he's given me some good advice on what not to do here, which is to mess around with it too much, because being that it's old cast iron and clay underground, as soon as we start messing a little bit like around the back, you remove one bit, then you crack the next bit, and before you know it, you've dug up the whole driveway. So limited messing around down here, and then we can look at shuttering out. Dad's on the way over now, so hopefully we can get this done today and I can get all the materials ready to pour the concrete next week. So this is what we got down here. We've got the cast iron pipe which comes down where it joins into the clay. Unfortunately, the collar of that clay has cracked off and it was attached to some concrete, and as I lifted the concrete away, it came away with it. Oh, it's not good. It's more of the collar than I thought. I think we're going to end up digging out the whole of this elbow, and then we'll have to cut off below this collar and then join in a piece of plastic there, and then somehow convert. We're going to have to... Well, if there's one consolation, it's that I didn't break it. It's been open for a while. I can see the roots from the big creeper that used to be all over this house have got in there. So I think we're going to have to do the inevitable, which is to replace from here to here in plastic. But because we've got this join anyway at the bottom of the cast, rather than having some sort of adapter there, we may as well carry on plastic, bearing in mind it's all going to be boxed in here. And then we'll switch to cast iron, back to cast iron before it leaves the roof, so that we retain the original stack. Right, so far so good. I'll show you a quick look at what I've got planned, because I'm kind of making it up as I go along. So first things first, we managed to get the section of cast iron out, which is great, because it means we can now come down here, and at the top of the clay pipe, you need to cut the... Actually, do we need to? I don't even think we need to do that. We don't need to cut it off at all. That's great. Told you I was making it up as I went along. Clear off all of that, clear out everything out, including up here, so we've got good access. I've got an adapter which sits inside of the clay, and then the plastic will go inside that. So the drain connector is sorted. I was hoping to get an offset one. You can get one which is offset by about 50mm, but I have to wait a week for that. So what I've done is got a straight one, and will come up, and then moving to the top. Now up here we've got this offset swan neck, or whatever it's called, which comes away to take it away from the door. We need to keep something like that up here, and I'd rather keep cast iron above the roof line. So we're going to try, if possible, to swing this out by a few degrees to bring the vertical part of the stack away from the wall, so we can flash to it much easier when we put the flat roof here. If we did it at the moment, we've only got 20mm there, 30mm, and it would be a little bit fiddly. So ideally we'll come out, and then we're going to switch to plastic just above the roof line, and then everything is boxed in below. So we're not changing the original sort of feature of the house, of the cast iron stack, which still needs to be stripped and repainted, but we will switch to plastic below. We also have a 40mm pipe coming from the bathroom, which is all sorts of mess going on there. It needs to come in and go into a strap-on boss in the plastic pipe just before it comes through the ceiling, and then everything should be a little bit more tidy. Right, quick look at what we've got to work with. This is the drain connector, which will go down inside the clay. We can use it in cast as well, and then our plastic will go into that. Now, what the option I was talking about is an offset version of this, where the base is the same, but then the top section is across by about 50mm, which would have been ideal, but we can't get hold of that easily. So that's going to go into the clay, and then we'll configure a couple of these. I don't think we even need to have the pipe in between. and that will just enable us to get the offset we need. Right, we're slowly getting there, and at least we're kind of toilet safe now. Right, now while the sun is out and I remember to do it, I'll give you a bit of an explanation into what we've done so far with the cast iron replacement. So what I wanted to make sure I did is brought it away from the wall for that reason that I mentioned earlier, which is flashing it onto the EPDM flat roof, making sure I've got a real good seal there. I've got a rubber boot which I've already installed up there, and that seals it to the pipe. So one, I'm going to get a much better seal if I'm onto plastic rather than a cast iron pipe, which isn't going to be 100% smooth. But also I've got that space around the outside for that to sit down and seal onto the EPDM, and bringing the lead work out of the stonework and dress it along there. So that's why I've gone to plastic. It's completely hidden, and we've got maybe 200mm of plastic above the roof, which won't be seen. Cut some little blocks here to offset this bracket off. I'll probably put one more in. Down here it's a bit more of a pain. I've got an open gully, open drain type situation going on. Old clay pipe from the kitchen, no longer needed. The other pipe that came through this wall's gone. All I've got is a down pipe with a hopper on top of it. All it's taking is the bath and the basin from the bathroom, and this 40mm but a loose pipe here comes down from the ensuite, again just for a shower. Now both of those are 40mm above the roof line. We'll take them into the stack and down over there. This then becomes completely redundant, and I've been kind of asking around, and having spoken to Jason, we've kind of come up with the decision that if this was capped completely and sealed, the flooring can just go over it. The concrete slab can be poured there. It's just if I was to dig down and take out all of this, it would cause issues, one with messing up with clay pipes underneath, but also our toilet and soil from down the other side of this wall comes in with a trap down at the bottom there, and that's a whole different story. So cap this off, and then all of this will be boxed in. This can just have some shelving or something in the alcove. So this will all be cleaned up and repainted when we restore the outside of the house. That's where the cast iron comes through the wall to the toilet and the bathroom. Then we come down. Now 40mm there comes out the wall in some sort of ugly snake. That'll be all tidied up and hopefully come down the back of the cast iron, because we've offset it from the wall, and come in through a boss. Usually if you want an adapter to take you from cast iron to plastic, it's for people who have got cast iron in the ground or clay and they want to replace the whole stack with plastic. So it's the adapter we use at the bottom. It sits inside the pipe and your plastic goes into that. Not many people want to retain the cast iron stack and go into plastic, so we're kind of upside down. But having cleaned up that cast iron completely, wire brushed it and got rid of any rough nasty bits on it, we found that it fits perfectly inside a normal push fit soil pipe. So I don't know, I mean I guess 110 is 110, that's why they probably use 110 for plastic, is it cast iron's 4-inch. Anyway, got a good seal there. I don't really see an issue there. Hopefully someone's going to not tell me differently there. So ignoring the rubber boot hat thing that will seal down on the roof, you can see there the cast iron, the male of that cast iron offset has been cleaned up, even though you can only see the rusty bit from here. and it's sealed really nicely against the rubber gasket or ring seal that's inside that fitting. Anyway, so that's how we sorted that. And by the time the cast is cleaned and repainted, and the little bit of visible plastic, which is basically all you see above that hat, by the time that's painted to match, I don't think we're going to see much at all. So all of the cast irons held in by these steel hooks, which are kind of easily bent, or not easily, but they can bend around and clamp everything in. But I'm not sure if they're driven into the mortar, into the lime mortar before it sets, or whether there's some lead wedges or something, I don't know, but they are solid. But a bit of tapping and they do loosen up. Come on. Oh, there we go. Wow. There is no better way to appreciate old houses than taking them apart. That is well built. Absolutely solid. I'm not going to destroy these. Got to be careful, because if you bang around with cast iron too much, it just cracks. It's quite brittle. It's strong as a single piece, obviously, but if you hit it with a hammer, it will just shatter. So where I've got to sort out drain water goods, rainwater around the house, I think some of these might have to be salvaged. So I'll put these to one side. I know people will laugh at me getting soppy over old rusty drains, but where possible, got to try and keep some of this stuff at least. So there we go, not the most exciting topic, and I guess just one of those things that pretty much every extension you end up coming across some sort of pipe that's always going to be in the way, and this is just how we dealt with it. Now you can see there, I managed to get that strap-on boss in a position where it is only just above the roof line. Once that hat moves back up, you can see the marks on the pipe there where the roof will be, so we won't really see that at all. So all in all, everything's sorted, everything's back and working again, and we can move on to the more constructive part, which is getting the slab laid and then move on to the oak framing. Any questions, stick them down below. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time. Nothing wrong with it. It's got another 100 years in it. It just needs to be cleaned up and painted. And that lorry needs some new brakes.